That's the official word. Zoom has told us we are recording. So, hi everybody. This is Joe Maldonado, and I am with Altera today. And I apologize. I've given you this title of the Forrest Witch, but you are just such a magical human being, and I don't know, you amaze me with all the things that you create and how you live this wonderful life. So. I just want to say big hugs and a big welcome to Altera, and thank you everybody for joining us today. And you can say hello, Altera.
Hello, everybody.
I must tell you, I am just so impressed that you actually can do Zoom and that we can have this connection.
Me too. Out in the boonies, out in nowhere.
Tell us where you are. When you say boonies nowhere, I say that where I am, but 10 minutes away, there's a college, there's a downtown. Tell me what your boonies in the middle of nowhere look like.
Well, actually, the boonies has changed a little bit. The 500 acres that was beside us just got sold, so we are getting neighbors.
Oh.
So that's a little bit challenging, but our acreage, we're surrounded by forest, and we have all kinds of living things that grow here that we forage for. We have a multitude of different animals that come through. So we're still in the boonies, and our closest community is about 4.5 miles away.
Oh, that's really close then.
Well, it used to be a very small community. It's probably grown to 300 people now. So
I was like thinking, like there's a cave nearby, that's what I was thinking.
But there are those, but there's a little grocery store and a post office and grade school where our children actually went many years ago. So
how long have you been living there? And you're in Idaho.
I'm in the north woods of Idaho, and we've been in this area for about 39 years.
Wow, that's a long time. So you've adapted, you've acclimated. I mean, it's the way your lifestyle is so significantly different than ours. That's just your lifestyle, correct? I mean,
and it's a lifestyle by choice. Living in the forest is beautiful. It's breathtaking. You learn something new every day, but it's also not a lifestyle suited to everybody. It is difficult to do what we do. So,
and I pulled up some of your neighbors that come to visit you.
Right. Yes, the neighbors that love to graze.
Yeah, they're so cute. And I see, so you do have electricity, right? I see a meter there.
Yes, we have power, and that's just part of the view. We carved that out so that we'd have somewhat of a yard. Got to have somewhere to put all the snow.
Oh, okay. So when does it start snowing where you are?
Well, last year on this day, we actually had a light dusting of snow. But it's supposed to get into the 60s. So different weather changes are coming.
That is different. That is different indeed. So if you live in the forest, right? So how would you say your life is different than someone that would live like smack in the town or community? Tell me about like your day. What time do you get up?
Well, the day can start between 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. We have to get David ready for work, and you greet the day. You go outside and you greet the day, and you have a heart of gratitude for where you live, for the lifestyle that you have. And then you've got chores to do. You're either foraging, you've got a household to run as well. Anything that you foraged needs to be processed, dried, canned. Whatever you're going to use it for.
Yeah.
And that's a day. There's fire.
I'm sorry, go ahead. What were you saying?
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say, so like
you said there's all.
Yeah, blah blah blah. Well, I think we have a slight delay too. So I'm trying not to say too much. But I do want to ask you, so it's October. What would you be foraging for in this month or in this week, perhaps?
Right now we're foraging elderberries. There's rose hips. There's wild cranberries. Um, let's see. I think that's about it at the moment. There's rowan berries on the mountain ash.
Right?
Um, I think that's about it that we're still continuing to forage at this time. But
And
there's almost always something to gather.
right, I know, because I know, like you and I have messaged back and forth, and you'll say, "I'm too busy. I'm too busy." I'm thinking, "What is she doing?" So I want to know. So when you go out to forest, do you have certain patches at this point, living out there such a long time, that when I go out to this patch, I know that's where the elderberries are, or that I know where that's whatever you're looking for. So this time of year you are looking for X, Y, Z in these places, correct? Is that pretty much the way?
Correct. And every season and every different area that we may roam will have something different to offer. There's also right now wild mushrooms to gather as well.
Oh, mushrooms is such a it's a very curious topic. And I was speaking to somebody about it, and you have to be very knowledgeable, I think, about what kind of mushrooms are you actually going to pick. What kind of
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, are you going to feel good or are you going to die? Could be one or other, right? So, which how did you learn about which mushrooms? And is it just, I mean, how do you learn about these things?
Well, I had a mentor at a very, very young age, and I just was completely inspired by it. And so you just continue studying. You
Oh,
learn and
wow.
study questions. And so I mean, I've got many years of experience, but I'm still learning as well.
I think we
There's a
all kind of learn, don't you? As time
Yes,
goes on. I mean, because like you said, environments change, everything changes. We're changing. We're older, hopefully wiser, we've more learned about these things. But I know mushrooms is one area that I would be pretty leery about approaching. So if someone wanted to look, and every area is different, that has different
correct.
mushrooms, right? So if someone wanted to go ahead and forage for, a certain kind of mushroom or certain mushrooms, what kind of advice would you give them?
Well, I would suggest getting a mentor that's from the area that's knowledgeable. There
Mhm,
are many books, learn how to do spore printing. There's clubs, mushroom clubs that you can join that can also help guide you.
mhm.
And when in doubt, don't pick it. There
Yeah,
are
don't pick it out.
there many mushrooms that are toxic, but the ones that we forage and harvest, we know what they are, and I've known for many years what to look for. So
Yeah,
there's chiarels, bolitas, there's morels, and every season has a different variety.
right, right. And again, it's, we highly recommend that you go with a mentor. I would think that even if you go and look it up on the internet, can be a little bit misleading too. You really should have a hands-on person, is what I'm sensing, right?
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
So I am looking for
Somebody with knowledge, an old time.
exactly. So with mushrooms, let's just pick a mushroom. What would you do other than dehydrate them? Maybe what would you do with the mushrooms that you have picked?
It depends on the variety. Some are better to dehydrate and store for later use. Some are more suited to just eat as you harvest. But
Mhm.
all mushrooms, I just stress this, are toxic. All mushrooms need to be cooked that are from the wild. Cook them
Mhm.
first to eliminate any of the toxicity that is in there.
Mhm.
Chanterelles, right, are not suited to dehydrating, but
Oh,
they're
good to
great
know.
if they're great to be sautéed and cooked up and added to to your dish,
Uh-huh.
and they add a flavor. So just there are things in the forest you have to be wary of.
Right. And and our forest here in Florida is a lot different than your forest. We're very dense, we're very swampy. I mean, especially where we are here, feet of water, and you have to be very careful with what you choose and how you choose it. Um, I know that there's majority of the foods that I've read on your posts are for eating, and you make these. Oh, let me just pull something up. This is actually something I think that you picked. So I just want to share screen, and that one. So if you can just tell us what is all this in the basket, and is this stuff that you've grown or stuff that you've?
That was that was items out of the garden this year that were fresh.
Okay.
Um, yeah, baby potatoes and
Mhm.
lettuce and green beans. We try to be as close to the land as we can. Being connected is really important,
Mhm.
um, especially in my craft. I have a strong sense and need to be a part of it and to feel it. And so we
Mhm.
try to cook as much and we forage what we can too. But
Mhm.
obviously, we still buy things from the grocery store as well.
Right, right. And you do have vehicles to get around, correct?
Well, yeah, four-wheel drive to be exact.
So I'm going to pull up this one image here. And because I know you also, practice this in your own craft, whether it's saging or,
Right.
a variety of things. So can you describe what you have in this image over here?
Well, I made these this summer. These are smudge bundles of cedar and pine, and then things that I had grown in the garden. And then I made a calming salve using some lavender that I had harvested out of the garden as well.
So
It just gives me,
mhm. I was just wondering, in the calming salve with lavender, what else would you put in there to give it that texture?
well, I used a sweet almond oil and what else? Lemon balm as well,
Oh,
and
yeah.
beeswax.
And beeswax. Yeah, I thought beeswax always has some part in something that I'm doing that has to do with that kind of consistency. It's my good old friend. So on the staging bundles, um, can we talk about those a little bit? What would you use them for? And are there any words or intentions that are that accompany them?
Well, when I'm creating, I'm thanking the creator, I'm thanking the mother, I'm
Mhm.
thanking the plants themselves for their offering and for their sharing, for their energy,
Mhm.
and for the I'm just thanking them for being and for allowing me and creating with them, creating smudge bundles or creating a salve or whatever it is that I'm creating is
Mhm.
also a way to honor the plant. And
Yes.
then I'll use the smudge bundle to cleanse my home or gift it, or I will cleanse somebody else's home, or
Mhm.
just to cleanse myself. For me, they're just calming and cleansing.
Mm-hmm. And then when you use a bundle, do I, what other leaves do I see in there? That's not,
Let me see. I see sage,
sage.
lavender.
Yeah.
There's rose. I use a
Yes.
rose love. Um,
And the
and
purple flowers are what?
pardon,
The purple flowers to the left of the bundle, what are they?
that's lavender.
That is lavender. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Our lavender has much smaller petals here in Florida than that. So that, huh. And then, so I also see the evergreen slash cedar. Oh, okay. So I see the lavender now next to the crystal behind the bowl.
Oh, yes.
So that's a different type of lavender than the lavender in the bowl.
No, it's just drying. It's a
Oh,
little bit drier than what's in the bundle.
got it.
I was thinking I was going to need extra and I didn't.
Got it. tell me about the crystals, because I noticed you use crystals in some of your work.
I do. I live not far from a garnet mine. Um,
Oh, wow.
I absolutely adore rocks, stones, crystals. There's always something coming home with me from an adventure.
Yeah,
I can't help myself, and I love amethyst and rose quartz.
yeah,
Amethyst opening the mind and clarity, and rose quartz constantly for everything I do with love.
yeah,
And and garnet, I wear garnet, and garnet's good for the heart, good for the for love as well. So
yeah, absolutely,
right,
absolutely. Um,
that's how I incorporate.
your staging when you do these things is just so, I mean, it makes you want to go sit there and hang out with you. Tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here. It looks like jelly, right?
It is, that is actually fireweed jelly, and
Okay.
we hike pretty far and wide to find enough blossoms of the fireweed to make the jelly and to dehydrate. I will
Oh,
use, it tastes like it's kind of like wildflower honey, and it's absolutely delicious. I love
oh,
that jelly. And it's a wonderful, it tinctures really well also,
I see
and
that. Yeah.
it's, the entire plant is edible and medicinal. So,
Ooh,
but it's such a joy to climb the mountainsides and be a part of everything around you
uh,
and to use what you find.
do you ever feel like, oh, what if a bear comes at me or anything like? I'm sure you've had adventures those ways.
Have had adventures with bears,
Yeah.
but I'm going to be honest with you. The animals that terrified me the most are moose. We
Ah,
actually we came home from a ride. It was becoming quite dark. We were out looking for wild rose hips, and the moose, she decided that she was going to stay in the road on the
oh,
trail. We had to wait her out.
yeah.
They're huge and they're quite terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, they
So the
are.
right.
I'm laughing because one of our league members, Mindy, lives in Alaska, and that's like their the moose thing is their big thing. You know, it's like, well, there you go. He's not leaving, so he's going to be dinner for us for the entire season, and he feeds like he'll feed most of the community. I mean, they'll get theirs, and you know, they could feed their dog and the rest of the community that lives around there kind of share, and you know that's kind of the way it goes. I have another very interesting image here that you have posted. um, so this
Uh-huh.
goes, okay, so we're now beyond just salve, we're talking syrups and a whole bunch of stuff. Can you explain what you've made here in this photo?
Okay, so this was I created these in June, and they are elderberry blossoms,
Okay.
and I made a salve. I also infused elder blossoms that were dried into honey. I
Ah,
made a Saint Germain alcohol for an infused vodka, and that'll be a gift for the holidays. And then I also
okay.
made a syrup that's just tasty. It's just delicious. And
And
that was with
how do you get all these recipes? I mean, do you make them up, or is it
some
just
of them. I just sometimes you can't help yourself. It's like, well, will this work? I mean, that's part of being a kitchen witch as well, not just working with the forest, but
yeah,
how can I combine this to make it medicinal and
yeah.
fun at the same time?
Yeah, yeah. Tell me if you can about the medicinal stuff, because I know I remember one of your posts that was saying that, you know, you and David were not feeling well. You had come down with some kind of a crud
We
thing and you concocted stuff, and you that's your medicine. That's how you got better. So it's, again, it's intention, you know, I'm sure, and wording and all that, but it's what did you
Yeah,
use? And I forget what was wrong with you guys that made you not well.
sometimes. So, but a lot of the times for me, I will use elderberry because it's just such a wonderful antiviral. and great for inflammation. And whatever it was at the time, I'm sure that I used elderberry because it was in the lungs. I'm quite certain of that. So you can tincture elderberry, you can, dehydrate it. I make a syrup with it.
Yes.
There's uses for elderberry, but then again, knowledge first. The little tiny stems are toxic. The leaves are
Oh,
toxic.
okay.
You need to be very mindful. Please make sure that you know for sure that it's an elderberry, because there is, some people get confused. So,
Yeah.
um, but I use elderberry for all kinds of things. But a lot of the things that we harvest or forage from the forest is part of our connection, loving intent, and
Mm,
we use all of it.
yeah.
We use all of it. There's a
And
purpose for everything.
but what about the things that you said are toxic? What do you use? I mean, what do you do to that?
Then I toss that outside into the compost.
Oh, okay.
The stems off of the elderberries, I toss that out into the compost. We're not going to use it.
Got it.
Oh, these are herbs that from the beginning of the season that I started harvesting out of the garden.
Okay. Okay. So these are ones that you're growing. I see parsley and I see a whole bunch of really interesting. Do you have mint in there and sage, I think?
I
Basil?
think I have several mints. I have thymes. I have two different
Yes.
sage. I maybe a couple little sprigs of lemon balm too.
Yes.
Things were a little slow this year, that we were very wet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then all of a sudden after the wet, we got really hot and dry,
Yeah.
and things were a challenge this year for foraging and for gardening.
Hmm. So you're foraging, you're gardening. Are you vegetarians?
No, we're not. We buy
Okay.
organic beef and chicken.
Okay. Do you trade with your neighbors?
We do trade.
So what kind
Um,
of things would you be trading?
well, let's see. This year I traded some fresh produce for huckleberries.
Oh,
Um, I'm a avid fan of huckleberries, so I had extra, and this person was unable to forage for those, so we traded fresh produce for huckleberries.
nice, nice. I have my daughter's husband's family does that. They have a little vineyard. I think it's like 10-acre parcel of grapes, and
Mhm.
they trade. They make their own wine, and they trade either grapes or wine with the Amish for their meat. And
One
that's kind of the way that the Amish like to drink and they like to eat meat. So it works out really
right?
good.
It's a give and
um,
take. Love very generous.
I think it works out really fine too. And I know the other thing is, you don't have chickens, do you?
No, we haven't had chickens for quite some time, but I think we may be incorporating them back on the little homestead again,
Okay.
maybe sometime in the spring.
And why is that you decided not to have them and then to have them again?
Well, they are a bit of a hassle. They attract coyotes. And I'm not so sure if our neighbors down the road are willing to trade for eggs so much anymore. Uh,
Okay. Yeah.
yes, so we may have to incorporate that in.
If I can ask you, what made you decide to lead this kind of life? I mean, were you living in the city of
Oh,
New York and riding a subway every day? Or,
no,
what made you do this?
no. I actually grew up in a small rural community. My mother liked to move too many times,
Hmm.
and living out was my dream, and I shared the same dream with my husband, and
Hmm.
um, we connected. We have never left. This is just what we want, and we wanted for our children. And I have a need for the trees. I have a physical need for the soil.
Yes.
I need that connection
Yeah.
with all things. and living. So that's why we're still here.
And I so can relate to that because I have the same, we're in the process of moving. I don't know where to, but that's like one of my biggest concerns is because I am very attached to the soil and to the plants that live with me. Now I can live with any plants in any soil, but I this is what I really, it enlivens me. It gives me joy to be amongst them. Um, so if you were, let
Well,
me
it
see.
also comes.
Go ahead.
It for me being part of the forest around me makes me feel connected. It is a continual reminder of how connected we all are to everything.
Yeah,
And it's a beautiful way to incorporate into your craft as well. Even in the wintertime, I can't get outside. There's no way.
yeah,
But before winter comes, I still bring in a pottery bowl full of soil from my garden
yes.
just for the comfort, and I can cleanse my stones in those, or I can I don't know, I just have a connection. It makes you feel like being in love.
Oh,
And
yeah. What a lovely thing to say. I've got up
oh,
one
my best.
your broom. Oh my gosh, this is so lovely. Can you tell us about this? And other than hanging so beautifully, what else would you use this for? Do you use it for a ritual or any kind of?
This particular besom I made this summer using cedar boughs and four different wild grasses, and I dehydrated the daisies,
Mhm.
used a fir branch of a tree that had lifted a branch onto the ground.
Yeah.
I'm I'm this particular will be for a constant reminder of warm summer days that will soothe my spirits for winter time,
Yeah.
because winter can be extremely long where we live.
Yeah.
Um,
And
but
cold.
I have a besom that is specific for different things. So this one
Okay.
here will be for joy,
And how many do you have?
four that I've created.
Oh, wow. That is so, I'd love to do some research on your posts and see exactly what they all look like. And being, I think some people would say, well, then you're pretty much a solitary witch. So but how would you describe yourself?
Well, if I had to use a description that everybody probably could understand, I would say that foremost, I'm a forest witch, and I don't know very many of those, but I would be a forest witch. I'm connected to the earth. I am a green kitchen witch, most
Yes.
assuredly.
Yes,
Uh,
definitely.
it's difficult to actually describe yourself.
Yeah.
Just a person that feels the rhythms of the seasons. I
Yes.
feel it in my feet. I feel it in my body. I celebrate the solstice and equinoxes. Um,
Mhm.
I'm a wild woman. I'm a wild woman. And
I love that. I love that. I think we all do, our different parts in being connected to one thing or another more that gives us, like you said, your besom, gives you your joy. And I think it's just a matter of being true to who you are, who yourself is, and honoring that. So, and honoring the earth and the plants and adoring your kitchen, that's where you dwell, that's where you flourish. I'm looking at this lovely post again that you created, and I know there's lots of great food, but I want to bring everybody's attention to the stove that's in the back of her kitchen. I remember when you posted when you guys got that, it was finally in, and I thought, oh, my dream come true to have a stove like that. It is just, oh gosh, how what kind of was it, hard to adapt to that kind of cooking from what you had before, or what did you have before?
actually, no, I have an electric range, and It has a double oven. I am a kitchen witch. I need all the help I can get, all the good
Yeah.
tools. But actually, this little cook stove that David refurbished for me is not the first one that I've cooked on. Um,
Mm,
this is our downsized forest house. We
wow.
lived in a forest house that was much larger, that had a much larger wood cook stove. Um, but this is my favorite one. This is for as we get older
Yeah.
forest house.
Yeah. Yeah. How big is your house?
I love cooking on that little stove, and it was not difficult to use.
How big is your house? Do you know how many square feet approximately?
1,200 feet. It's
How many?
1,200.
1,200?
1,200. Yes.
That is what Henry and I are going for, 1,200 right now. We're at 31, which is way too big. So
Which
we're,
was too big for us as well. That's why we had to leave.
see, yeah, yeah. Oh my God, no, I need that. So, again, I love your combination. I love your being so in tune to nature and what you have. Can you describe, why, for example, why is the candle in a lemon? And is that, what is that, peppermint around there, maybe?
That is a chocolate mint.
I was just talking about that. I have some in the back. Yes.
Yeah, good job. Actually, that was the presentation there was my celebration for the summer solstice. And
Oh,
I had honey cakes to remind us of how sweet life can be.
yeah.
And the lemon is just cleansing and full of joy. My candles I make myself that I use for my magic, all hand dipped with beeswax.
Wow.
Um, was my intent for the summer solstice
Yeah.
carved into it. And then I made a hibiscus lemon tea, sun tea to go with
Oh,
it.
back
So
there. Yeah, I see that. And I'm sorry, what did
uh,
you say the muffins were? What were the muffins?
they were mini sun cakes,
Oh,
mini
those are
honey,
the sun cake. Okay, okay. Oh,
right?
yeah. And then I love, are they pansies that you have in,
Or
in the front? Is that,
yes, they're shortbread cookies.
oh my goodness. It, who eats all this stuff? Just you and David?
Are part of what I do is trading. Somebody's got rose petals. I'll, hey, what do you have? Or what would you like to trade? Many of the things that I do create can be put in the freezer and pulled out at different times. So
Right.
David and I will blood on these. They get put away, and we can pull them out as a reminder later on throughout the season.
They are just phenomenal. I love your posts. Altera's on Facebook, and she has these great posts, but not only that, but an explanation of what season we're in, what plants she is embracing for that season, how she does it, her altars. Um, do you put up, I don't think you put up any spells, but maybe prayers or something like that.
Don't I don't work a lot with spells because I feel that my intent and the energy that I put into my intent and my own actions are my magic.
Hmm.
So I don't necessarily always need a spell. I may make a list and put it on my altar for during different phases of the moon or
Hmm.
and when I'm working on, but not necessarily a spell. It's
Hmm.
most intent.
And
And
well, and actually, we say spell, we say prayer, we say, a lot of words put together. That's intention. That's from your heart. So and
same.
it's, I guess, in the matter of description of what you may want to call that. Does anybody have any questions for Altera right now, that you'd like to type in? And if not, we're going to end the recorded part, and then we're going to go to live questions. So if you do not, I'm going to end the recorded part, if that's okay with you, Alter. Yep.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to end. Yeah, I'm done. No, I am so honored to have this lady, just give up some of her precious time that, I know how busy she is. And, and for that split second when I thought, well, what is she doing? It's like foraging, cleaning, drying, hydrating. I want to mention one more thing in the recording, because this is how I absolutely connected with my heart with Altera. She turned me on to a dehydrator
Oh,
that I use called Excalibur, that I use pretty much for everything. And it's herbs from my garden, maybe there'll be a massive amount of fruit that's available from the farmer's market or from our grocery store. I'll dehydrate bananas and blueberries. And we have, here being in Florida, we have oranges, tangelos, plantains, all that. So all that gets dehydrated. My dogs, which is what I originally, bought the dehydrator for, they get stuff all the time. And again, it's what meat is on sale. It's available. So, and the screens get cleaned up very, very well too. So I'm not combining blueberries with chicken livers, and stuff like that. But that is where Altera and I just hooked up, and I'm like, do you like have racks all over your house, with herbs? And she's like, I use a dehydrator. That's what I have to get. So that is our big, big, big one-on-one connection. So I'm going to stop recording, and then we're going to go live and see if anybody has any additional questions. Oh, big hugs to you, Altera. I'm so grateful we've had enough internet connection between us today.
me too. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. And for those that are listening to the recording and are not here live, feel free, if you have any questions, you can always email us, on Facebook, here, my Weapons Claw, School of Practical Magic, Facebook, or mine, or through email. So pausing this, saying thank you, and see you guys later.